perfect child is Lucinda.
You know, I keep winning.
How are you?
That's the worst spot.
I keep winning from Maria who worked in the
Cheers.
Are we live, Chris?
Yeah.
I often press this. We're live. Run some family discounts. Good evening and welcome to the May 23rd Board of Trustees Village of Bayville meeting. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a resolution to increase the fees for grave openings and shows.
No.
Oh, forgive me, I'm trying to rush this. All right, do I have a resolution to accept the warrants and claims as presented? I make a motion. I'll second.
Trustee Santoro,
Yes.
Trustee Farnell,
Yes.
Trustee Nigro,
Yes.
Trustee Minicozy,
Yes.
Trustee DiBartolomeo,
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi,
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale.
Yes. May I have a resolution to accept prior meeting minutes?
I'll make the resolution.
Trustee Santoro,
Yes.
Trustee Farnell,
Yes.
Trustee Nigro,
I abstain, I don't think I was here.
Trustee Minicozy,
Yes.
Trustee DiBartolomeo,
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi,
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale.
Yes. And we have a resolution to increase the fees for grave openings and showing available plots in the Bayville Cemetery as outlined in the letter dated May 5th, 2022, from Cemetery Committee Chairperson Louis Valeri of Oyster Bay Funeral Home in Oyster Bay, of course. Fees have not been increased since 2012. May I have a resolution? Anyone? I make a motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Santoro,
Yes.
Trustee Farnell,
Yes.
Trustee Nigro,
Yes.
Trustee Minicozy,
Yes.
Trustee DiBartolomeo,
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi,
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale.
Yes. We have a resolution, proposed local law 2022-B to establish no parking at Cemetery Lane between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. is hereby introduced to be the subject of a public hearing by the Board of Trustees at its meeting to be scheduled June 27th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. I so move.
Trustee Santoro,
Yes.
Trustee Farnell,
Yes.
Trustee Nigro,
Yes.
Trustee Minicozy,
Yes.
Trustee DiBartolomeo,
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi,
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale.
Yes. We have a resolution to hire seasonal laborers at an hourly wage of $15 per hour. And the resolution is to hire Bennett Artie, Megan Murray, and Nicholas Amendola. May I have a resolution to hire?
I'll make a resolution to hire. I'll second.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Farnell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minicozzi?
Yes.
Trustee DiBartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Galseki?
Yes.
Mayor Dinatelli?
Yes. We have a resolution to approve the proposal from Sapienza and Freight to provide professional services related to the length of service award programs known as LOSAP for the volunteer firefighters in the Bayville Volunteer Fire Department, Bayville Fire Company Number 1, at a rate of $250 per hour. May I have a motion to accept this resolution?
Make a motion. I'll second.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Farnell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minicozzi?
Yes.
Trustee DiBartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Galseki?
Yes.
Mayor Dinatelli?
Yes. In relation to the LoSAP resolution, there's a text that's been prepared by Joseph Frank entitled Extract of Minutes, which needs to be read in its entirety. I'm going to ask the village attorney, Mr. Weiler, Peter Weiler, to please read the resolution.
This resolution will take a little time to read because it's lengthy. And here it is. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Bayville in the Town of Oyster Bay, County of Nassau, State of New York, by a favorable vote of not less than 3/5 of the members set forward, subject to mandatory referendum as follows. Section 1. The Incorporated Village of Bayville shall conduct a mandatory referendum at the general village election to determine whether the Board of Trustees shall amend an existing length of service award program provided for the volunteer firefighters participants of the program of the Bayville Volunteer Fire Department / Bayville Fire Company Number 1, as provided for in Section 216 and Section 216A of the General Municipal Law. Section 2. The type and length of service award program presently in existence is a defined benefit program, as described in Section 219 of the General Municipal Law. Section 3. The entitlement age for participants, as that term is defined in Section 215, subparagraph 4 of the General Municipal Law. Under the program, as presently constituted, is 65 years of age based upon the program as originally adopted, subsequently amended, and authorized in accordance with law. Section 4. The maximum number of years of firefighting service, as that term is defined in Section 215, subparagraph 11 of the General Municipal Law, under the program as presently constituted, is 30 years, based upon the program originally adopted, subsequently amended, and authorized in accordance with law. Section 5. Under Section 215, subparagraph 4 of the General Municipal Law, a length of service award program, subject to the appropriate authorization, may provide for an entitlement age for participants as low as 55 years of age, and under Section 219B of the General Municipal Law, a maximum number of years of firefighting service of 50 years. Section 6. The present length of service award program of the Incorporated Village of Bayville provides for an entitlement age policy with an entitlement age of 65 years of age, which also permits participants to earn post-entitlement age benefits credit for additional years of service credit. Section 7. The present length of service award program shall be amended in order to increase the monthly benefit earned for each year of service credit earned from $20 per year of credited service to $30 per year of credited service, as permitted by Section 219 of the General Municipal Law. Section 8, the present length of service award program shall remain the same in all other respects and shall be amended by this resolution subject, of course, to approval of a mandatory referendum. In the event the referendum is not approved, the present program shall remain in effect as presently constituted, and the amendment proposed shall not take effect. In the event the proposition is approved, pursuant to Section 219, subparagraph C of the General Municipal Law, the prior authorization to make benefits immediately available for payment to participants, when vested and earned, shall remain in effect. There shall be no 10-year waiting period as described therein, and it is noted that the program will have been in existence for 10 years by the time this amendment, if approved, becomes effective. Excuse me. The estimated annual, Section 9, the estimated annual cost of the length of service award program as amended hereunder shall be $280,000 based upon the current number and composition of participants in the program. The current estimated annual cost of the length of service award program as it currently exists is $280,000 based upon the current number and composition of participants in the program. The program as amended will change the amortization schedule to a 10-year amortization from a 5-year amortization, and the amount amortized over said period from $152,548 to $126,962. The amendments proposed will not increase the annual administration fees for the program, which shall remain the same. The foregoing figures are estimated and are subject to variation based upon the number of participants each year who qualify for a year of service credit. Section 10, the defined benefit award to be paid to each eligible volunteer firefighter participant in the program as amended shall be $30 per month for each qualified year of active firefighting service, not to exceed 30 years of service. The amendment, if approved by the registered voters of the village, shall apply to each year of service after January 1, 2023. Section 11. The general election of the qualified voters of the Incorporated Village of Bayville in the town of Oyster Bay, County of Nassau, State of New York, hereinafter referred to as Village, shall be held in the firehouse of the Bayville Fire Company No. 1, located at 258 Bayville Avenue, Bayville, New York, 11709. In said village on June 21, 2022, commencing at 6 a.m. prevailing time, and the polls shall remain open until 9 p.m. prevailing time, or for such longer period as may be necessary to enable the voters then present to cast their votes. Section 12. The vote upon the proposition to be submitted to the qualified voters shall be by voting machines, and village clerk is hereby authorized and directed to have the necessary machines prepared for use in such voting. Section 13. The village clerk is hereby authorized and directed to give notice of said general village election based upon the form normally used with notice of this proposition to amend the length of service award program stated within such notice of election. The form of the proposition shall be as follows. Shall the resolution of the Incorporated Village of Bayville, the town of Oyster Bay, entitled, and this is how this resolution will appear on the ballot, Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Bayville in the town of Oyster Bay, County of Nassau, State of New York, adopted May 23, 2022, authorizing the amendment of the village Service Award Program for the volunteer firefighters of the Bayville Volunteer Fire Department / Bayville Fire Company Number 1. In order to increase the monthly benefit for participants for each credited year of service from $20 to $30, as permitted by the General Municipal Law, Section 219, effective on January 1, 2023. Stating the estimated annual cost of said program as amended based upon the present number of firefighters will remain at $280,000 and will not increase. Stating that amortization of unfunded liability of the plan shall change from $152,548 amortized over 5 years to $126,962 amortized over 10 years, stating the current annual administration fee included in the aforementioned figures will remain the same based upon the present number of firefighters, stating that the plan is funded by the villages of Bayville, Mill Neck, and Center Island, stating that all other provisions of the plan will remain unchanged and in effect. Appropriate said amount therefore be approved. And we ought to now have someone make a motion to have that resolution adopted.
I'll make the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Santoro.
Let me take it for a second.
Huh?
Let me take it for a second.
Yeah, Amy.
Amy.
Okay.
Okay. And Chris, hold the board. Yeah. Thank you.
Trustee Santoro.
Yes.
Trustee Farnell.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Minicozzi.
Yes.
Trustee DiBartolomeo.
Yes.
Trustee Belzecchi.
Yes.
Mayor Dinatelli.
Yes. The board will take, will move to an executive session, but before doing so, I wanted to ask if there's anyone any resident in the audience who would like to make a statement tonight. Please.
We have the hearing.
Pat Pudgy,
Local law.
Pat Pudgy, 875. First, I'd like to thank you for the music at the West Harbor Beach by the Art Council. I think it was very well attended, and my husband and I loved it. So that was nice. And just for speaking on part of the library, I just wanted to say that we have a trustee that is retiring, Debbie Tyler. She's been on our board for a number of years. She's the daughter of Joe and Millie Deljaco, and Joe Deljaco was on our board for many years too. We have selected out of 7 people that applied for trustee to the library, Joanne Orlowski, who was passionate about the library. Everybody voted for her unanimously. It was wonderful. She's new to Bayville. She's very young. She's a scout leader here. First thing she did is take her children to the library and get library cards. So we're very pleased to have her, and she's written grants, she does finances, she does a lot of things, so she will be great. And we were also pleased to have so many people interested in the library and applying, and we learned a lot from them. Joanne herself did a lot of library as she applied, so we realized we have to take our website and everything up a notch, because she couldn't find out things that were going on. She wanted to know more about the renovation and a few things. So we got a lot of positive things for the people that applied, and we want to utilize them in some of our ad hoc committees. So that's the library. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to like you said, please come forward.
You're opening up public,
We are.
I must be getting old, I can't hear back there.
What?
First, my name is Victoria Siegel, 2 Hillary Drive, Bayville, New York. Later on in my comments, I'll put another hat on, I'll have something else to say. Regarding the LoSAP, I couldn't hear everything you were saying, Mr. Weiler. However, just a statement. I think our firefighters have earned whatever this resolution, this mandatory referendum gives them. I think this community would really be losing something if we didn't have the fine fire department that we have. Okay. The other is this. I'd like to know who is the consultant that's doing the CRS, the community rating system.
I can't answer that. The building inspector is very involved with that.
Yeah, but you hired a consultant according to the village minutes.
Yeah.
But let's get beyond that. Is the CRS still at 10%? That is a 10% discount on the flood insurance?
To the best of my knowledge, it's remained, the rating has remained unchanged.
Okay, so then it's still at 10%. Okay. At one time, we got it almost up to 20%. That was in 2008. And then the federal government changed the rules a week before we were about to file.
Figures.
Okay. The other thing is, the drainage pipe along Bayville Avenue. You may be interested in this information. I don't think you have it. You should, but I don't think you have it. The village of Bayville had obtained a $1 million grant to do the piping along Bayville Avenue to catch all the runoff water from School Street to Bay Beach Avenue. And that was through a TIP grant, Transportation Improvement Project. We had started work on that. Plans, we were coordinating with the county because we found out when we were doing this work that for some unknown reason, the drainage pipe, that is the county pipe on Bayville Avenue, there are many areas along Bayville Avenue where the pipe is dead-ended. So that does not help the drainage.
Mayor Siegel, if I can interrupt you. The county has been here and they put a proposal before us. They've studied, they have drawn a complete study of the drainage on Bayville Avenue to Loveland Avenue. And they are proceeding with major changes in the piping at that point.
Well, I'm glad that they are, but I want this village to know you paid for it because the county took our $1 million.
Well,
Okay? So the county is not doing you any favor. They took your money. They took your money.
2008?
I don't want to say 2008. It could very well have been 2008. There should be a letter in the file from Mr. Robiero, who was the Commissioner of Public Works for Nassau County, whereby he tells the village in no uncertain terms, they owe us. So the county is not doing any favor. The county, if they're being open, they should be going to Bay Beach Avenue. That was the original concept. That was what was agreed upon. And they took $1 million.
I just want to point out, and we will obviously look into that, but they budgeted just for the section from School Street to Ludlam, I want to say $15.7 million for the project.
Well, I'm sure that it costs, costs the amount of money that they're stating. But the point that I'm making is that this village was doing that, okay? And were meeting on a regular basis with county representatives, and then to find out that they had arbitrarily taken our funding because the way that grant worked, and not just for the village of Bayville, but for other municipalities that had gotten a similar grant, the Nassau County Planning Commission was the representative, okay? So we only found out that they had taken the village's money when the consultant put in the vouchers for payment, and they would say, what are you talking about? You have no money. We said, what do you mean you have no money? And that's when we found out. So they didn't even have the courtesy of notifying the village that they had done this, okay? That was shameful, absolutely shameful. So that when I hear that out of the goodness of their heart, okay, they're now doing the study, you're doing it with our money. That's what you're doing it with, okay? The AstroTurf that I read, I believe in your paper, I don't really know too much about AstroTurf. I think now they call it a different names, because I think AstroTurf got a bad rep a few years back.
Field turf.
But however, I saw after Hurricane Sandy that the AstroTurf that was a center around the beach was in disrepair. And that was in disrepair. That was done rather quickly, so nobody could say that it was in disrepair. The point that I'm making is that the same conditions that existed during Hurricane Sandy at Center Around the Beach will inevitably consist of, I should say, happen at West Harbor Beach, because the salt water comes up. Now,
Did the salt water not damage the grass at West Harbor Beach during Sandy?
you know, grass can always be reseeded. It could be done a lot of things. As I said, I am not an expert on AstroTurf. I know it's expensive. I know that it gets hot. I know it gets hot. And I don't know how comfortable that is for the kids that have to play on it. You know, I kind of enjoy seeing the 5-, 6-year-old sitting down on the grass, picking a dandelion while the ball passes right by them, okay? But I only bring that up as an observation that I made during Hurricane Sandy, okay? Now, I'll put on my other hat. I'm here representing the West Harbor Civic Association. There has been a lot of talk about the possibility of a skateboard park at West Harbor Beach. As a matter of fact, I've read.
If I can interrupt you.
Sure.
I, for one, and I don't want to speak on anybody else's behalf, have no interest in putting a skateboard park at West Harbor Beach. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's not even on the table. The possibility of a skate park in Bayville, maybe, but the comprehensive plan that I am personally working on for West Harbor Beach does not include a skate park.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I have to say, Trustee Minicozy, because it is also being said that you're in favor of it as well as Mr. Taylor. So I'm glad to hear that you're not.
I'm not opposed to a skate park somewhere in Bayville. It will not be at West Harbor Beach.
Well, let me give you the information that I found out, okay? I did some very quick research. During my time sitting in the electric chair you're sitting in, Bob, I had people that came here also advocating for a skate park. And as we all do as diligent public officials, I did my homework. And one of the people that I spoke with at the time was Robbie Walker, who was the commissioner of parks for the town of Oyster Bay at that time. Because the town of Oyster Bay had put up a skateboard park at Allen Park in Farmingdale. So I met him down there, and he said to me, he said, don't do it. He says, it's the biggest mistake the town ever made. He said, because I asked him, I said, where's the skateboard park? And he says, we dismantled it. We took it down because it wasn't worth the headache, the cost, the destruction, and he says it just wasn't worth it. We took it down. So
If I may interrupt you for
Yeah.
a second. They did build another one. They built another one in Hicksville, so.
Well, I have information on that too, okay? They built another one in Bethpage, which is now closed,
Correct.
okay? So the town of Oyster Bay, it was a much bigger municipality than the village of Bayville, and certainly much deeper pockets, has gone out of the skateboard business because, quite frankly, even though when you have a municipal park, okay, skateboard park, the liability that is incurred by doing this is just added on to what you already carry. If you were doing this in the private sector, you'd feel the hit a lot more. But nevertheless, whether the hit is minimized because it would be a municipality or not, that is something that has to be transferred on to the taxpayer. Not only as far as liability insurance, but also you'd have to have 24/7 security. You'd have to, okay? I mean, I know in my days, we paid some insurance claims that the insurance carriers called nuisance claims, okay? We had one kid that hit another kid in the back with a bocce ball that cost us $9,000. We had someone else who slipped on a sidewalk, okay? Because I forget exactly what it was, nuisance claim, $19,000. So you add up all these nuisance claims, they add up to a significant amount of money.
So, if I could just add to that also. So, we did check with our insurance broker, and we do have the coverage necessary, because we have the coverage for the skate rink. So, there wouldn't be any additional cost. It just has to be an added activity. All right, but again, I just want to be clear that in my eyes, if the skate park is going to be within the incorporated village of Bayville, it's going to be at one of the town of Oyster Bay facilities. I don't feel that the Bayville residents are enough draw to constitute having a skate park, where if it was at Staley's or Ransom or Center Island and you could have everyone from the town of Oyster Bay using it, it would be a much better fit.
Well, as I said, I'm very happy to hear that.
What I can add, Mayor Siegel, was my wife, who was in the school district in Harborfields for 40 years, said that they had the village of Greenlawn in Suffolk had a skate park. So there were 2 fatalities, and these things happened at night. It wasn't being used as a skate park. There was a lot of drug and alcohol use, and a lot going on that wasn't in any way related to the sporting activity. And if she were here, she would give you chapter and verse with respect to how they regretted in the village of Greenlawn having to set up that skate park. Because you're right, you have to be able to shut it down after the day's use, and then you need to be able to monitor it at night.
Well,
If I may, Mayor Siegel, also, I recommended not West Harbor or any of the, even the skating rink, which I thought might have been a viable solution, because the noise from the skateboards, I think, would make the residents very unhappy, which you would hear from West Harbor, from where you live, if it was at West Harbor Beach
well,
as well.
let me just say, I mean, I didn't get into all of that yet. Let me just say that I love where I live. Okay, I love it.
Nice neighbors.
Okay, it really is. We have some rotten neighbors, but you know, I love where I live. However, there are times when I have to ask, where am I living? When there are games going on at Center Island Beach, okay, depending the direction of the wind, I can tell you the score because I'm sitting in my living room and it's just as clear as though I was sitting in the bleachers, okay? When the Rod and Gun Club is doing their shooting, okay, if I didn't know it was the Rod and Gun Club, I would be dropping to the floor and crawling around. But, you know, that may sound negative, but it's one of the beauties of living where we live, okay? To be able to have the open spaces that we have. I mean, we're a bit of Americana. And I have to tell you the truth, that some of the things that I hear, some of the movements that allegedly will take place, it makes me wonder why people moved here. I mean, I'm a transplant here, okay? My family and I have lived here 57 years, and I know we still don't make it because it's only 57 years. But nevertheless, I've seen the changes in Bayville. Some of the changes have been very good. Some of the changes, I go, geez, I wish we could go back to a time when there was less people, less hub, and what have you. But that's not going to be, because progress pushes us forward. But if you were to put a skateboard park or a stadium at West Harbor Beach, you would not only be affecting the quality of life, because when we moved where we moved, okay, we moved in 1966. Soon thereafter, maybe about 8 years after, the village of Bayville adopted a development plan for West Harbor Beach. Now, certainly at that time, nobody knew about skateboard parks, so skateboard parks weren't there. But the one thing that was said, and it was said repeatedly, not only at the time that the development plan was adopted, but in subsequent administrations, that there would never be a stadium at West Harbor Beach. You would never have lights. And I see a movement towards having lights, okay? That would be a big mistake. Now, you say, okay, Vicki, you're standing over there, you're telling me you don't like lights. Yes, I am telling you I don't like lights. But my husband and I had an opportunity to have our home reevaluated. And it's interesting what you find in those papers. Now, I just said a few moments ago, I love where I live. I never knew, living close to a beach, across from a beach, across from the Rod and Gun Club, okay, as well as having a double line down West Harbor Drive, is a negative. It takes approximately $100,000 off the value of my home. Now, add to that other things that people may want as long as they don't live near it. You might as well push me out. You might as well push me out. Because I moved here for a certain quality of life, and I was promised that quality of life. And now, because people see things in a different light, and some of the new vision is good. All new vision is not bad. But you have to take into consideration, what are you giving up in order to achieve this little tiny thing? I don't want to give up my fresh air. I don't want to give up my fresh water. I don't want to give up the opportunity of sending my grandchildren, as I did my children, go across the street and pick me some mussels and clams. I don't want to give any of that up. And I resent anyone who tries to force that on me. Thank you very much.
Well, let me respond. So I'm the one that's spearheading the West Harbor project. There are no lights in the plans. I can assure you of that. They've never been discussed, and they won't be discussed. We're not looking to create a stadium, as you said. What we are doing as a board, again, led by me, is we're going to look at all the possible options of improving the West Harbor grounds, whether it includes pickleball or not, whether it includes field turf or not, whether it includes renovations to the building, a concession stand, maybe a splash pad. We are going to look at the entire project as a whole, and the cost, if we can afford it, what the cost of the different options are, and then we're going to present it to the public. I'm not sitting here, especially me, saying this is what we're doing, but I can assure you that it will not include lights. Now, getting back to the skate park, I just want to be fair to the skate committee, because we just heard a lot of the negatives, and I will tell you that on their recommendation, I went and looked at all the skate parks, and I have to tell you, the one in Port Washington is beautiful. It really is. It doesn't have any fencing around it. It's open until, I guess as late as the park itself is open. There happened to be a police officer there when I went to look at the park. He said there's never been any problems. I just want to point out that that one is very nice and well kept.
I'm sure that it is. Are you talking about the one at Christopher Morley?
I don't know.
Somewhere else? Okay. Well, let me read to you what they say in periodicals that deal with skate parks. Okay. According to a study published in Physician and Sport Medicine, 3.5 to 13.1% of skateboard injuries are head traumas. 55 to 63% are injuries to the upper limb, and 15 to 22% abdominal and spine injuries. Okay? Then, according to Sports Sec, which is another periodical that deals with skateboards, everybody's going to be a Tommy Hawk. I doubt it, but everybody's looking to be a Tommy Hawk. They say skate parks are a haven for crime. This includes selling and use of drugs, gang activity, vandalism, and theft of equipment. And I have to tell you, almost verbatim, that is exactly what Robbie Walker told me.
I went to, I don't want to say the wrong town, I want to say I think it was Belfort, I don't remember the places that I went to.
Because when
It was terrible, it was disgusting, it was graffiti, it was run down, we do not want that here, and sure you meant that.
well, again, I don't know what you saw. It could have been, was it a private or a municipal?
Municipal, all the ones.
Municipal, because when I Googled all sport parks, okay, in Nassau and Suffolk, that one didn't come up. Okay, Greenlawn came up.
It was Manor Haven State Park in Fort Washington.
I'm sorry, what?
Manor Haven.
That was the next one.
Okay.
Yeah,
The other one that I went to, that was
We've
not.
been asked a lot of other things to use that area in West Harbor, and whether it was Saturday, it was this past weekend, I drove by, and there was 2 games going on, and the lots were overflowing onto the grass. I don't know where anyone would put a fixed structure and expect anybody else to be able to even bring a bicycle.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people forget that about 50%, give or take, okay, either direction, was illegally filled in back 1979, 80, 81. And what you have there, what was dumped in there, was household garbage, a portion of the Immaculate Conception Convent from Morgan's Island. Most of that convent is on the other side of the street, okay? And you also had a cesspool company that dumped in there. So what was illegally filled in were wetlands. Those were wetlands. And up until not that long ago, you had the Flying Gull, the federal sign for federal wetlands over there, okay? That has disappeared. Similarly, you mentioned Branson Beach. The reason why a portion of Branson Beach is not paved is because those were wetlands that were illegally filled in back in the 1970s. As a matter of fact, in the 1980s, when Lou Yavoli was our assemblyman up in the state of New York, I got a letter from him saying that New York State was interested in selling those wetlands, okay? And I wrote him a letter and I said, put the village of Bayville first on the line, we'll buy them. And I'll tell you what I wanted to do there. Okay,
This is at Ransom?
At Branson, correct. That's why that area is not paved and anybody could go there and they don't have to have a sticker. Because those are state wetlands that were illegally filled in, okay? And I told Lou Yavoli when he sent me that letter, put us first, we will purchase it, and what myself and the board wanted to do with that land, if we were successful in getting it, we were going to put a ramp in there so that our boaters had access to the sound, okay? But then, all of a sudden, the wetlands were no longer available. It's just that there's a lot of history in this village that many people are not aware of. And we have remained this little bit of Americana that we are because people who preceded us and hopefully follow us have jealously protected these things. But I see that many people don't have the same appreciation. Everybody gets up in arms, the bridge is coming, and everybody all of a sudden becomes an environmentalist. But once the third of the bridge is over, let's dump here, let's fill this in, who cares about this, who wants this open space? And everything is done in the name of the kids. The name of the kids. What we're protecting this open space for is for the kids, so that nobody has to show them a picture of a tree. They will see trees, that no one has to have CPAP every night. They can breathe easily. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Not this use that for my glasses, I'm not quite as young as I used. Your Honor, members of this esteemed board.
Excuse me, can we have your name and address?
Yes, absolutely. Louis, L-O-U-I-S, John Ruggiolo, R-U-G-G-I-L-O, 5 Hillary Drive, Bayville. My wife Mary would like to be here. She's the president of the West Hartford Association, but she had a prior commitment with Judge Gilbert at House Law Board, so I'm here on her behalf. Mr. Nicosi, sir, are you on the record publicly stating that you are not going to put, if you were elected to the position of mayor, that you are not going to put a skate park down at West Hartford?
Correct.
You're on the record for that, sir.
On the record.
Very good. I want to talk with minutes. Along West Harbor, there are 2 stop signs, as you're aware, one at the beach and one at Allen Street. If you're familiar with the old song by Nichols, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. However, there needs to be another one at Whitney. They use the one at Allen Street as a drag race to start to go all the way down to Bayville Avenue. There's nothing between that and Bayville Avenue. So another stop sign at Whitney would certainly help, in my opinion. I walk my dog there. Some of you know her, Fiona. Walk in the middle of the street. I found 2 hypodermics along the sand there, which is disconcerting, along with several broken bottles of Tango. I don't know what the kids are drinking these days, and beer cans. Not appropriate. Also, West Harbor has large trucks going to Center Island. Those trucks are overweight. I know they're overweight. You find folks know they're overweight. You don't have to wait for the water to fall on you to know it's raining. There is no way station. There's no enforcement of that. They should be using Bayville Avenue for that. West Harbor was not constructed for that purpose. So we'd like to see some enforcement on that front if possible.
Mr. Ruggiolo, I'm sorry. I see you every day, and I can't even pronounce your last name. I would like to see some way of limiting traffic at the Whitney end, only because that's where we cross to walk our dog and go up to West Harbor. You couldn't have it the other way. You couldn't have it heading west because that turn is just too big, and someone comes around and someone stopped at that stop sign, then you're gonna have a problem. But there's no reason they couldn't have one heading east by that walkway to prevent them people from going speeding.
If they didn't come over the bridge, Mr. Knight, and they went around, which would add to their commute.
No, I'm just concerned that if you have to stop at a stop sign, people coming around behind that blind curve will run into whatever stop there. But on the other side of the street,
If they were doing 30 as they, or less.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that's not what's gonna happen.
Possibly, you could put in a stop ahead sign, I've seen that. And they help give you a warning that there's a stop sign in front. But I don't know what, because I drive that road. a lot.
Well, it's also a bus stop.
The stop signs that are now in place, originally the association had requested speed tables. The town of Oyster Bay responded, we don't like them. I checked their codes, there's nothing in their codes that says you cannot use speed tables.
What is that? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Excuse me?
What's a speed table?
Speed table are like those humps, you know, they had to slow down and whatever. I can understand why they don't like them, you know, but it would impair somewhat with the plowing and things like that. Now, the stop signs that are there now have slowed down and made the roads safer, because previously it was totally unsafe, okay? Going in a westerly direction. However, once they stop across the street from my house, I'm so blessed with having to hear all of these cars coming and going. That's the starting point for them to accelerate and go all the way up. Now, we didn't ask the town of Oyster Bay for stop signs. We were just as surprised as anyone traveling on that road that there were stop signs. One day we woke up and they were there, okay? There need to be stop signs at Allen Road in both directions, east and west. Whitney represents a dangerous situation for the placement of, in my opinion, and I'm not a road engineer, I'm not a lot of things, okay? Because of the contour of the road. You come around, it's blind, okay, it's blind. So yes, as the good attorney said, you have to put notifications saying, you know, stop sign ahead, or, you know, something like that. But the way it is now, it's made the situation even more dangerous. I can't get out safely out of my block, okay, until the cars heading west are a safe distance from the corner, because I am not sure they're gonna stop. I would say out of every 10 cars, 6 don't stop.
Our good friends in Center Island are in a terrible hurry.
Okay.
I guess they have that.
I can see the utility of having a sign at Allen in both directions. Whitney, I don't think that would work going, that's only my own opinion. I too am not a traffic specialist, but I would like to be able to use that walkway
Yeah.
without fear of my life.
Oh, absolutely. And
If
then,
there were one on the beach side, sir, they would have to slope in, they wouldn't gun from Allen all the way down.
They're running it on Bayville Avenue as well. I'm at Soundside
Yes.
Beach and Bayville Avenue, and there's no stop signs or traffic lights from where does your,
Sound Beach.
from Sound Beach all the way to the Center Island Loop. I hear people drag racing all night long.
the speeding in this village has gotten to a point where I don't even know what word to
Perhaps we
use.
need to take this up with the commander of the second
It
precinct.
had, yes.
We had them here 2 weeks ago. We met with them, we explained the situation. We told them about several intersections that we were getting multiple complaints, Hillary Drive being one of them. And he assured us that he would station cars there. I mean, that's pretty much all we could do. We could certainly reach out to him again.
And then we need to reach out to
Point
our,
that-
we
point
need
that out.
to reach out to his
You know-
boss. Well, her boss, I don't know who's the commander.
I will bring this to the attention of the board. Sometimes having history is a curse.
Can I, may I take a poll? I know Mr. Nicosi is going to vote no against the West Hartford skate park.
Yeah.
Would the other members of the board also was?
I vote no.
You vote no?
I vote no skating parks in Bayville at all, and that includes Oyster Bay property.
Mr. Raymond?
I don't announce my vote without having a proposition in front of me,
Okay.
only because it indicates that I'm willing to make a decision without knowing all the
Well,
facts.
so-
I'm not disposed towards it, as I said.
Thank you, Mr. Biden.
I'll take that as an insult, thank you.
I don't want a skate park in West Hartford.
No.
And everybody's on the record for that. I thank you for your indulgence.
The history that I'd like to bring to this board, and please forgive me,
Thank you.
this might be the 5th appearance that I made before the village since I left office, and I've been a much happier person since I left office, is this. This village pays close to $5 million a year for police protection. And the streets that we see patrolled are Bayville Avenue and Ludlow Avenue, West Harbor sometime, maybe School Street, the village roads, that's all we see. And when I say this, I'm not being anti-police because I'm perhaps one of the biggest supporters they have, but I call them as I see them. There was a time, and it's legal because it went through the legal division of the police department. 201 patrolled every single solitary street in this village. It went in and out of every street. And this was done, in case no people doubt me, Captain Walsh was the commanding officer of the 2nd Precinct. And he was the one that brought the question to the police legal division. And it came, and I don't know why, Peter, this number sticks in my mind, but I believe the law that he quoted was Executive Law 1641, that it gave the police department the absolute right to patrol our roads. And we used to have that. We used to have that. As a matter of fact, if you were going on vacation, you could tell the police officer that was there, hey, look, I'm going to be leaving, for 2 weeks, whatever it is. And he said, don't worry, we'll pass by, we pass by, we'll keep an eye out. Which gave you a sense of being safe, okay? And it was great. And there was nobody, the change that occurred was when they went from the 8-hour shift to the 12-hour shift. As soon as they went to the 12-hour shift, everything was different. Everything was different.
You would think if you had 12 hours to work, you'd be looking for more to do, wouldn't you?
Well, you would think.
Yeah.
You would think, but,
I just want to point out though that the locations that were given to us, again, Hillary being one of them, the others were on side streets too. I mean, we're talking about Cross and Godfrey, and those locations were given to the new commanding officer. He's a true gentleman. He seems sincere. He told us he will have the officers sitting at those locations. And, we have to take him for his word. And we can certainly reach out to him again.
I would believe him also. I only give you this information because in days past, okay, it was said that they could patrol every single, you know what, if you see 201 on the street, okay, passing your house, it's amazing how much safer your neighborhood becomes, okay? And you know what? If you're really a no good person, you could time where that car is going to be. And that gives you the time to do whatever it is that you're going to do. And a lot of them have scanners. A lot of them have scanners.
It's nice to see the RFA at the gun club, having his coffee. And the water view is great, but the car should be facing the street.
I will be sure to point it out.
Yeah, that would be a little more helpful. Thank you for your time, everyone. Thank you.
Sorry, I came late, I just got here from work. I live on Hillary Drive. I don't want to repeat anything that my neighbors have said. I raised my kids here. A skate park sounds like a lot of fun, but it's also very dangerous. After hours, it is not a good place or a safe place. I've seen them in the other towns. There are a lot of problems. I think it would be wise to look at the experiences of other towns that have these parks, to see what we would be in for besides the liability, which to me is terrifying. Because parents might not know their kids are there. They might not want.
And not to interrupt you, but I think the residents heard loud and clear There
I
will
just
not-
wanted to reiterate that I would be against it only because of safety for the neighborhood and for the children that are there, unless you can have somebody monitoring them for safety while they're there. Also, I just want to add, I don't want to repeat what they said, since this road was built on West Harbor Drive, the quality of my life has been destroyed. I have lost the use of my yard, and the other night, it wasn't very late, and I could hear them counting on the other end of West Harbor, counting down for when those racing cars were gonna come. My television is not 20 feet away from that guardrail, and I do not watch television at night in that room because the sound of the cars flying by that are not stopping at all is terrifying. And at night in the summer, there are kids it's a dark road. There are kids that walk in the streets in bunches. Somebody's gonna get killed. You would do better for the quality of life for these kids if you gave them a bigger bike lane to ride their bikes in, because that is also insufficient when you're coming around those blind curves. That is a beautiful street. It was a nice beach road. It is now literally a highway. The whole day long, you hear trucks, dump trucks, giant construction trucks. I don't feel like it's any different than being on any major road now. It is not a beach road. And for that reason, anything that you could put on that road to stop cars, to slow them down, to make them think twice. We had a warning sign before the stop sign, and somebody crashed into it. A big lit up warning sign, and somebody from Center Island ran right into it and destroyed the whole thing. It is a dangerous road, so anything that you would support, and I know I have to thank my block association, Vicky Siegel. It was a dogged attempt. Emails, letters, phone calls, just trying to get something. And the stop signs were a godsend because it was something. So another stop sign on that blind curve where they start those drag races down by Center Island. If you could stop them with one more stop sign, I think that's something better than nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with, any other comments from Brazil? No, thank you. With that, let's have the public hearing for the proposed local law 2022A.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing by reading the notice. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Bayville will hold a public hearing commencing at 6:45 p.m. Let the record show it's 7:33 p.m. on Monday, May 23rd at the Bayville Village Hall, 34 School Street in said village. The hearing will be on whether to enact proposed local law 2022-A, which will allow the Village of Bayville to authorize by local option the Nassau County Home Improvement Exemption, Code 44220, to be applied to all properties within its jurisdiction that qualify for said exemption as determined by the County of Nassau's Department of Assessment. A copy of proposed local law 2022-A is posted on the Village of Bayville's website, which may be found at, and there's a URL listed in the notice. Proposed local law 2022-A may also be viewed at the Bayville Village Hall, 34 School Street, Bayville, New York, 11709, where it may be reviewed between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, from the date of this notice to the time of the hearing. Persons who may suffer from a disability which would prevent them from participating in said hearing should notify Maria Alfano Hardy, Village Clerk Treasurer, at 516-628-1439 in sufficient time to permit such arrangements to be made to enable such persons to participate in said hearing. By order of the Board of Trustees, Incorporated Village of Bayville, Maria Alfano Hardy, Village Clerk Treasurer, dated May 11, 2022.
I have a motion?
Let the record know that no one made any
No
comment.
comment? You have a motion to close the hearing?
Make a motion to close the hearing. Second.
Trustee Santoro,
Yes.
trustee Farnell,
Yes.
trustee Nigro,
Yes.
trustee Manicosi,
Yes.
trustee Di Bartolomeo,
Yes.
trustee Valsecchi,
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale.
Yes.
And then do we have a motion to adopt and enact proposed local law 2022-A as local law number 1 of the year 2022?
I'll make a motion, we accept, local law 2022-A.
Second.
We're calling one. One hundred dash.
Okay, trustee Santoro,
Yes.
trustee Farnell,
Yes.
trustee Nigro,
Yes.
trustee Manicosi,
Yes.
trustee Di Bartolomeo,
Yes.
trustee Valsecchi,
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale.
Yes.
Okay, and then do we have a motion to go to adjourn the regular meeting and to convene into executive session at 7:36 PM to discuss the following matters with the village attorney, personnel matters, and license agreement,
And look, maybe somebody.
and possibly litigation.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Santoro,
Yes.
trustee Farnell,
Yes.
trustee Nigro,
Yes.
trustee Manicosi,
Yes.
trustee Di Bartolomeo,
Yes.
trustee Valsecchi,
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale.
Yes.
I take a lot of hits on
Yes, it's on Zoom, I've been waiting.
Go to war. You told us guys they were going to Ukraine.
I was away and
There you go. Who are you?
You've done a really nice job. You got the last one.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I was mad at you for today. I apologize.
Hello, Giuseppe.
It's okay.
How you been?
No, you definitely-
Keep running.
But I-
Nice to see you. Very tight. You gotta get some more chairs. I don't know, pens around? I'll let them know.
But I can only wear it like that because, or.
Now I see, right?
Whatever they are, either give some.
Peter, don't give them any money on Valley Road. Those Schleicher people, don't do this.
Don't say it, we're on. At least for that.
Oh, she left?
Should I call her back in? Yeah, I guess you gotta call the meeting to order, and then, because you're gonna have to do a resolution on walls. That's why we're coming back here.
Oh, all right.
We gotta come back and close the meeting.
Yeah, and so Amy's coming back here.
We have to close executive session.
You have to close
Pardon?
executive session and then
Right.
we open the meeting.
Right, we closed the executive.
Can we do a resolution for walls?
Here, did you hear this, Mr. President?
How can we do a resolution for walls if we don't even know that they're quick?
Well, you can, I mean, I think they want to get something done. So my feeling is, they'll have to take it or leave it, as I say. And if they don't, they don't. If you lock it, then you lock the gate. What's one trust?
All right. We're thinking about meeting.
Okay,
Do we have a motion to close executive session?
I make a
Reopen the
motion.
regular meeting?
I make a motion, close the executive session and reopen the regular.
Second.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Biancosi?
yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Dusek?
Yes.
Mayor Dintel?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I guess the only item that you wish to take up is the question of the wall license agreement to use the village parking lot at Sound Beach.
I want to make a resolution to offer the parking arrangement at Southside Beach to Walls Wharf for $6,500 a season, with an option to terminate the lease or the arrangement with a 30-day notice.
Upon getting complaints about the conduct of the valet parking, I think we want to relate it to that.
And speeding.
And traffic, and cars lined up. I want no cars lined up on Bayville Avenue.
Okay,
It's a real safety issue.
Nothing but the cars right into the beach. They have an invitation, it says go to this entrance.
If I get that specific, I probably would just say that issues with valet parking
And traffic.
and the traffic speed.
Yeah, well, it's gonna have to be in our judgment. I'll have to reword the license a little bit. But I think from the standpoint of the motion, we can say the license is renewed, $6,500 for the season. I believe the number of parking spaces is 50 based upon my recollection of the thing. But that we reserve the right to cancel the lease on 30 days notice. And that will be our discretion. That'll be our right for cancellation.
Yes.
And it's as simple as that. If we find that the conduct of the valet parkers or the lineup of traffic that's created at a given time is unacceptable, we have the right to cancel. And that's probably what he'll have to accept. It's our property, and he'll just have to figure out a better way to manage things.
Terrific. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take care of doing that, and then we'll proffer it to, and then that'll be the way it'll be.
We were Steve and myself were at another situation parking in the village, and one of the restaurant owners suggested that Bayville, village of Bayville, build a multi-level parking garage. So, Elisa, there's always a multi-level parking garage.
Yeah. That'll over real well.
Right next to the skate park.
Yeah.
Back there, there's a skate, right?
Think you would have loved that, wouldn't you?
All right, so that
All right.
concludes tonight.
Now we get the motion, right?
Motion.
A motion.
Now we gotta do a
Motion
So
on
we have a
resolution.
We have a motion on, the mayor's motion to grant the license with those revisions. You want to take a vote on that?
Trustee Santoro,
I'm going to abstain.
trustee Farnell,
Yes.
trustee Nigro,
Yes.
trustee Minikowski,
Yes.
trustee Di Bartolomeo,
Yes.
trustee Malsecki.
Yes.
Mayor Di Natalie.
Yes.
Okay, and then do we have a motion to close the regular meeting at 9:13 PM?
I so move.
Trustee Santoro,
Yeah.
trustee Farnell,
Trustee
trustee
Farrell.
Farnell,
Yes.
No, I don't feel that way at all.
trustee Nigro,
Yes.
trustee Minikowski,
Yes.
trustee Di Bartolomeo,
Yes.
trustee Malsecki.
Yes.
Mayor Di Natalie.
Yes.
Okay. Maria was here a lot faster.
All right.
You're right, Chris, I think it is, I think it is making,
Okay, everyone?
Good night. Thank you.
slowing things up.